第一是他的力大力，然后给我们留下非常深刻的印象，然后是他非常英俊的外表。
Hello, welcome back to day one of the World Playoffs. I'm DJ Wheat alongside Rachel, and we are bringing you all the action live from sunny Los Angeles here at LA Live.
Now our next match picks CounterLogic Gaming, North America, against China's Invictus Gaming. Let's take a look at the obstacles that Invictus had to overcome to get here.
In late July, Invictus Gaming and Noah's Ark faced off in a best-of-3 match at the regional finals in Shanghai. Noah's Ark took a lead early in the competition. But mid-game, Invictus had poured on the heat and turned things around to take the lead.
进化我们看到刚才姿态这个进化真的是完美啊，秒解对手卡牌的黄牌。
And they never gave it up. Invictus went on to rout Noah's Ark in the match 2-0, becoming one of 2 teams to represent China in the World Finals. Invictus Gaming is joined by World Elite, who battled a veritable gauntlet of challengers throughout Season 2, earning an early position representing China in the finals.
Now, as the blue team going into their second match of the day, let's welcome back Invictus Gaming.
And going up against IG is one of the oldest League of Legends professional teams in the world. They spent the last year in Korea, and they are looking to prove that their training and all their competition has played off. Playing as the red team from North America, it's CounterLogic Gaming. Give it up for the AD carry, Doublelift.
And on support, we have Chauster.
The AP carry, Big Fat LP.
And in the jungle, it's Hotshot GG.
And last but not least, in the top lane, give it up for Voy Boy. These teams look ready. I think you guys are ready. Let's go to Riv and Freak for the match analysis, guys.
Thanks, guys. We're back in full force here at the casting desk. This is a rematch of a contest that took place weeks ago in the IPL 5 qualifiers, where Invictus Gaming came out of nowhere to 2-0 CLG. It should be interesting to see whether or not that victory gives them the confidence to take this matchup.
Well, speaking of confidence, I'm feeling pretty good. I've got a Trinity Force hat on.
Yeah.
On the back, that's tons of damage.
All the damage is being done.
It's pretty nice. You know, you guys are missing out not being here, by the way. We've got sweet merch with Blitzcrank hoodies, tons of damage hats. Wish you guys were here in LA with us.
Yes, completely.
But you know what? There you go. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You guys are here in LA with us. These guys are awesome. These guys right here below me on the screen, but you know, behind me in real life. These guys are freaking awesome. I love that you guys are here. You guys are amazing. Guys, anyway, look. We had a chance to sit down with the teams earlier. Here's what they had to say about their chances in this match.
We lost them in 3 separate tournaments. Pretty badly. And they underestimated us pretty badly, I'm sure.
虽然我们小组里面每个队友都很强，但是我们有大招。
I don't like the word cheese. Why would you call it cheese when it's cheese just means it's like cheesy, you know? It's like But like strategy, if you got out-strategized, when you lose to cheese or when you lose to cheese, you just say we got cheese instead of we got out-strategized.
Good strategy.
We're lactose intolerant. Cheesing someone just means you have no skill, and all you did was win because you had this strategy that thought a little bit, and you all in on one thing.
Winning is everything to me. You know, coming in last sucks. It's the worst thing that could ever happen. Winning is the best. You know, you want to win so bad. And we're going to play a solid block of not mozzarella.
And you can see, guys, how lactose intolerance plays a role in League of Legends. So let's take a look at the keys to the game for Counter Logic Gaming here. They're really going to have to, and it's what Freak said in the interview with Monte Cristo at PAX, or what Monte Cristo said at the interview at PAX with Hotshot GG, is that this game needs to unveil secrets and innovation.
This has been a really big thing for Counter Logic Gaming. Over the last year, they've been kind of reinventing themselves and figuring out how exactly are they going to play the game. They've got a lot of things in their sort of playbook that they can bring out here. Now, with the group stage, these teams know who they're playing against. They can prepare per individual opponent. CLG's got something prepared for this game. They've had, as you heard Hotshot say in the interview, they've lost multiple times to these guys, to Invictus Gaming. They've got to bring out something new, something secret, something that IG is not yet ready for.
And you know, Freak, this second point plays out perfectly to the match we just watched. They need to overcome the early aggression that was First Blood and a lot of kills for Invictus Gaming.
This really plays out to what we saw with the last match right there, where IG started out strong, but it also plays to how Counter Logic Gaming tends to play. Now, if you look at them a year ago, they were all about the late game. They picked late game, team compositions. They picked late game champions, and they won at 35 or longer. They haven't really broken that trend so much. They've got new strategies, they've got new gameplay, but it's still centered around that end game sort of composition and working out, as the game drags on. Just like before, they need to sort of respond to early aggression, withstand it, and get their strategies rolling.
All right, Freak, and if that doesn't work out for them, Counter Logic Gaming is one of the best all-star lineups in North America. They need to utilize that flexible lineup.
This is interesting for them because every player on that team used to play a different role at some point. Most of them for CLG, most of them elsewhere. So, Voyboy kind of got famous from the very beginning by kind of showing up with Ezreal and making Wriggle's Lantern really popular. You've got Hotshot used to be the top laner there. Big Fat LP and Chauster used to kind of swap around as AD carry and mid and stuff like that. Chauster now on support. And of course, I actually said Blitzcrank instead of Doublelift in my head, but Doublelift kind of famous for that Blitzcrank initially and then kind of showed up as an AD carry player. All these guys really, they know all the ins and outs of different roles. All of them can really take over the match as a major carry, and they're going to kind of need that to pull through in this game.
All right, so now that we know the keys for CLG and how they can achieve victory, let's see if IG can do a repeat of their previous upset. For that first key to victory, they're going to have to react to the innovation that Hotshot's going to bring out with Counter Logic Gaming and react to new strategies.
Exactly. These guys know they're the favorite in this matchup. I talked to their manager backstage yesterday, and he said, we feel about 75-25 against CLG. We give ourselves 3-1 odds in this game. Feeling very, very confident. They know that they are kind of top dog in this matchup between these two teams. So they know CLG is going to bring out some special sauce. They know that's coming from CLG. They've got to react to that properly, get the counter picks going, whether they win in Champions Select or whether they win from in-game actions. They've got to react to something new from Counter Logic Gaming.
And they actually set up to do this last game. Invictus Gaming needs to punish Voyboy's aggressiveness with possible swap.
Yeah, there's a really interesting thing here where Voyboy, he used to play on Dignitas where he and Skara both would kind of like push forever and just farm and get over-aggressed. People would tend to camp Skara. And so Voyboy's kind of safe because no one's going to go, top lane. They can just kill Skara over and over. Why not? Well, Voyboy's on a bit of a more reserved team, and if he plays all-out aggressive again, he's going to be the one to get caught out and camped and killed. He's got to be able to check that aggression. Or, if he doesn't check it, IG can just camp him and crush him over and over in lane.
And Freak, their last point to victory, and if so be it again, it's a Valkyrie over the Dragon Wall to start off with First Blood. They need to take CLG by surprise.
It's really still, even though CLG has played them many times before, remember that, CLG's done a lot of research, and even though they've lost those last few games, they're going to learn from those mistakes. So CLG are going to be a different team here than we've seen them in the past. They are going to be new. They're going to have some new things going on here. And they've had a lot of time to research Invictus, knowing that that's their opponent, and they're going to know what Invictus is up to. So they're going to have to bring out something a little bit different themselves as well. IG needs to take CLG by surprise, because otherwise they're going to be read like a book.
All right, guys, so again, you've heard what we have to say. Let's chat it up on the social media. Head over to Twitter, @League of Legends, and the hashtag LOLWorlds, that's LOL Worlds, to voice your opinion. We'll be answering a few of those questions on air later in the broadcast.
All right, so here we go, guys. Champion Select is here to begin. We are ready. The players are ready. Audience, are you ready for this?
And Freak, the Vuvuzela so good. Right into the game, we have Doublelift being a focus ban. Sivir is out in the bans.
Yeah, we are in a champion select here, and you know that these guys have done their research. CLG seeing Invictus and seeing that the Ezreal being a top focus as well. These are just research-laden bans. Olaf was Voyboy's just best top laner. Actually, at the North American Regional, it was actually said, I forget who said it to me, but Voyboy was really only comfortable on Olaf the entire tournament. Yeah. It was really the only champion he wanted to play, and most teams hadn't learned that in time and weren't just chain banning Olaf to shut him down. In this case, some research has been done. You're seeing a lot of good bans being dropped in here by IG, picking out Doublelift and Voyboy specifically. You're seeing the rest of these bans, though, just phenomenal top laners. You're seeing actually kind of generalist bans from CLG. I don't think triple teleport promote is actually the strat here. They've not dropped out the major initiators. They've dropped out split pushers. They've dropped out just strong champions overall.
Freak there once again going with that Alistar. He's pretty much seeing the most tournament play he really has in a few months now, being in these last 2 games, always on the ban list, but now we see Hotshot GG picking up that Cho'Gath. Very common to him as a champion to play. Used to play that top lane as well. We said this team is completely versatile, and we're looking for that pick from Voyboy now. Doesn't have to be his. He can choose for his team. Picks and bans is all about countering what you're seeing from the other team, as well as making sure your strategy is completely viable. So it looks like there's actually going to be a choice for Diana, and Hotshot's going to get his Mundo.
Wow, so right off the bat, CLG, actually I'm a little bit worried for them based on what we just saw happen. They picked champions. Okay, guys, I'm going to run jungle Cho'Gath. We're going to run a top laner. It'll be fine. Wait, guys, hold on. I got an idea. We're going to run Diana Mundo, okay? Sure, and they switched at like the last second. And that, to me, actually spells a little bit of trouble because now, right off the bat, they're not on the same page just yet, right? They know they're against an Alistar. I mean, we know they already pre-planned their bans. They already knew coming into this that CLG was the red team. They knew they were second pick. They knew what their bans were going to be. They knew Alistar was probably going to be on the table for them. And then even still, they didn't react confidently to that pick. They actually took some time and they said, you know what, it's going to be Diana Mundo. So it's a lot of assassination, a nice front line, and a really fast jungle clearer.
I want to say this is a little switch up as they do put Diana on Voyboy for assassination and move Big Fat up, but we'll have to see what they do. We see the pick coming out for Skarner and Yorick.
This is interesting here. So it's got a heavy front line and heavy initiation here from Invictus, and that Yorick side lane, though, is very, very versatile. He can win pretty much any matchup here. Invictus has a lot of options open now to choose their 2 carries. CLG, though, you're right, it looks like that they are going to send that Voyboy to a side lane and give him a golem buff. Meanwhile, they've got Cassiopeia as a major mage here. Is going to be really good at wave clearing. They still have to pick their AD carry. That's still last up in this lineup, but they've got a very likely golem buff, bottom lane Diana, jungle Mundo, Lulu up with an AD carry, and Cassiopeia might be mid, might be top, but that would be a little bit risky here, and we're going to see what the rest of that lineup is going to be. Meanwhile, Invictus picking up their last few champions. Looks much more like a normal sort of standard lineup here. Corki's going to be teamed up with Alistar. We've got Skarner in the jungle as a phenomenally strong initiator. And actually, this is interesting because Cassiopeia is a great pick against Skarner. Skarner's going to be up at the front trying to dive someone and pull them back into his team. But when he does that, he just sets himself up for easy counter initiation from Cassiopeia. She can kind of stop him in his tracks and really set up a nice fight. So CLG finally now picking up that Graves for a full lineup here. There's a lot of area of effect. That is going to be the term I'm going to use for Counter Logic Gaming. Graves Lulu can push really, really hard. Cassiopeia and Diana can wave clear. Dr. Mundo, a great frontliner also with a lot of AoE damage. So CLG looking very, very strong here. This could be very, very good.
Yeah, this is really interesting, Freak. How many times in Champion Select of any huge tournament do you see really the AD carry super focused for both teams?
Yeah, it depends though, because with the only real like super contentious ban being Ezreal, Sivir is more of situational. CLG runs her in a split push type of strategy, and that actually might have been a reaction there. When they knew Sivir was banned, they had to switch pace and say, oh, okay, we're not doing triple teleport promote, let's run something new, and they changed their bans around. That might have been the case here, but you kind of see an interesting scenario where they've run kind of more of a standard type of composition. And actually, Chauster looked like he's going to Q dodge real fast. We're going to get that game recreated in a second here. But basically, you've now got a new situation here. It's an area effect comp coming out from CLG, making that reaction. Invictus Gaming looking just strong overall with a great front line and a great back line as well. As to your question, though, about AD carries, right? The first game we saw of the day, they insta-locked Ezreal because Ezreal right now is the hottest, most contended AD carry here between these teams. So when you drop that off the table, you no longer really care quite as much about what's there, so you can kind of pick your champions a little bit later on.
So, Freak, what do we see really coming in for these games after this? It's going to be IG 2-0 if they win, and CLG down 1. How is that going to work for them in this group stage to come out? IG is on their back heels right now.
Yeah, Invictus Gaming, they've got to make sure they win here. This is do or die for Invictus. It's very, very scary. It is so hard to get through a group when you start out 0-2. If there was a tiebreaker, if there's a big three-way tie, and if there's any group that would have a three-way tie, it is Group A. These teams are really all on that same level here. You can see SK, CLG, Invictus, Frost. Any of those can pull ties together. But if you're Invictus, you don't want to rely on that. You want to get your record going forward and push ahead. Again, they said they were 75% confident in this match. They had a really good chance of winning it. They feel really good about that match overall, but there's still not a heavy guarantee here. They've got to make sure that they play this game right, they get themselves to 1-1, and they win that last match against SK. This is really, really big here. Now, CLG on the same side, they've got kind of a vengeance here. They've got to come back and realize that they want those same wins. Azubu Frost 2-0'd them in Korea just a few months ago on LAN. You know, that's a scary place to be in. CLG is facing a lot of teams that have good records against them in professional competition. CLG needs to avenge themselves over and over in this group here. It's a major, major matchup for both these teams.
You know, Freak, let's talk a little bit about that tie matchup if it happens. How is this going to work?
So if we end up getting a three-way tie, whether it's one team going 3-0 and every other team is 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, or if we have a three-way tie where one team is 0-3 and three teams are 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, it's going to be another playoff. The three teams are going to go head-to-head again and see who's going to come out on top of that new, smaller three-man group. And they're going to keep doing it over and over until an actual winner is declared. Theoretically, we could be playing League for like 25 hours a day if they keep tying with each other. I wouldn't actually mind that. I love this game. I'd cast for days. Crowd, a couple of cheers there as well. I realize that. We've got at least 12 games lined up for you today. We're down 1. We've got at least 11 to go. Tiebreaker could happen. We never quite know. But these guys have finally picked their champions back up. We're going to be getting into the game very, very soon.
Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup, Freak. Invictus Gaming's lineup just says we are going to initiate on you over and over again. Once somebody gets pulled out by Skarner, you're going to be locked in by Yorick and by Alistar, and it's just going to be very hard to get out. How do you feel about the matchup down bottom? The safe ADs were gone for Doublelift to pick. He loves Graves, but with the movement of Corki, could that cause some problems in the lane?
Graves Lulu versus Corki and Alistar. Actually, I gotta say I like the chances here for the Alistar Corki lane overall. I think it's a bit stronger. I mean, you saw they first picked Alistar going confidently saying, yes, we're gonna go for the aggression, we're gonna go for it, let's fight. And Invictus has a bit of an advantage here in coordination as well. They are all aggressive players. They want to go all in, laning with an Alistar together with a Corki. There's a lot of pressure available there for Invictus. CLG though, it's going to be a bit harder. They're going to be on their back foot.
All right, guys, the teams have made their selections. If you want to see Invictus come out on top and take care of CLG for a second time, let me hear you.
However, if you want the home team here, CounterLogic Gaming North America, to represent their region on home soil, give it up.
All right, Freak, the game is underway. You're seeing these teams now gather together in their positions. Oh, seeing that Skarner come out. Hotshot puts himself in the push. Sees 3. Takes a good chunk of damage, Freak. A very good level 1 fight here to come, but it looks like that will stalemate it, actually, with the amount of damage done. We do see that CLG is going to be a little bit on their heels because of that and the amount of damage Hotshot took.
Well, thankfully for CLG, though, they've got some time still. It's only 50 seconds into the game. He can recall, get his health back up, and go back in. Ooh, Big Fat getting forced to flash away. Chauster winning out from the wings as well. This is interesting. CLG burning now 2 of their flashes, are now really on the defensive here. They know that their teamfight presence is not going to be quite as strong. Hotshot actually choosing not yet to recall and is staying at low health. This is a kind of a risky proposition. I don't really... I'm surprised at that a little bit. Mundo is a safe jungler. His health bar will stay high for a good little while here, but it's still an interesting choice to actually stay around like that, not with full HP. Now, IG still waiting around a little bit. You can see them camping in this brush down by that lower side buff. They might be waiting for a gank here at this bottom lane. See what they can do. Diana waiting around. She's going to be given the golem buff, so Voyboy looks like he will be, in fact, going to that bottom lane on Diana in a 1 versus 2. You can see as everyone else sets up, Cassiopeia helping out Mundo in the jungle. There's early aggressive clearing here from CLG overall. And Voy has teleport actually, so he's actually going to be teleporting to that top lane to do this. A pink ward goes down, IG wants to invade here.
And they are grabbing those up. Beautiful job on the wards. I was trying to figure out why people had CS already. And we do have it going down onto the blue. Looks like IG is quite far in there, but they're not even being seen. They're going to get out of this one quite easily. PDD now onto the other blue as well.
This is really a great opening here for Invictus Gaming. That wonderful invade put themselves in a great situation. PDD just picks up that kill onto that Golem. He's going to get himself back to that lane. They do a 1 versus 1 with Golem buff on Yorick. He's going to be able to outlane Voy, I think, pretty easily here.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for that top lane. Diana's very bursty. However, you have the sustain on Yorick, so it should work out both ways. We'll have to see if CLG can avoid that early aggression and take it into late. Zitai doing exactly what he did in the beginning to Swain on,
to Vladimir on Swain.
Rapid Star, yes,
yeah,
Vladimir on Swain. But now doing it as well to Chauster, or Big Fat in mid, so pushing Cass back. He's going to get pushed back as well. Once Cass starts to level, once that miasma is up and she can clear waves, it's going to be very hard for him.
The thing, though, is Zitai feels very safe here. He's against a Mundo who went flash, so there's no exhaust, there's no easy game for Hotshot GG. And Cassiopeia, not the best pressure either. Oh my god, that
flashes down bottom, great job.
I mean, you get about a quarter of a second to time that. The flash dodging that headbutt from Xiao, that was amazingly strong. The difficulty, though, is they still don't have ward coverage. He's still going to camp that bottom lane.
And they do know he's still there, saying, all right, Doublelift is going to go back. He does have some good gold under his belt right now. He's got enough for some potions and to keep the lane safe with Lulu. So we're going to do that. Voy farming safely top, using that shield to mitigate some damage. You can just see how much the blue buff is affecting that lane. Voy has to go back already.
Hotshot spots Illusion, lands the cleaver. Illusion going to take some damage here. So he's going to get away pretty much for free, though. Big Fat did come over to try to put some support down. Looks like not a lot was ultimately gained. Seeing PDD still very safe with the top lane. The bottom right now, Cassiopeia with a bit of pressure here, doing some good damage to Zitai. This is the one thing that is advantageous here for Big Fat LP, is Vladimir is a mid-ranged mage, meaning that when he goes to last hit minions or do any kind of harass, he is in range for Cassiopeia's counterattack. And as far as a one-on-one battle goes, Big Fat LP and Cassiopeia is going to have a better chance of this.
The big push in mid here, it's going to be the 3v2, or bottom lane rather, and they're going to get first blood onto Doublelift. A lot of pressure coming out, and that was just what they needed. It was very slow, came in strong, and they knew what they needed to do.
This is a really good play overall. Again, when they're laned up with an Alistar, Alistar is a ganker's best friend. He's got crowd control, he's got displacement, he's an immovable wall, he's going to keep people at full health, he even likes to tower dive. So when you gank for an Alistar, you know you're going to have a good time. They exactly had that right there. The first gank burned Doublelift's flash. All they had to know is that, guys, next 4 minutes to show up again, he's going to die. And in fact, they had that. So a great overall move there, knowing they could re-up that gank on the Doublelift. I would expect to see one more in the next 2 minutes.
Harassment from PDD as that blue buff has worn off. We can see Voy not having as much trouble in lane, using his mana to farm instead of really attack PDD in the damage straight. But PDD still pushing down strong. You see Hotshot over by the Wraiths. We could see him in middle at some point. No, that's going to be taken by Big Fat. They're kind of trading off on a little bit of experience there. Pings on Skarner show that he is down by Dragon. Looks like he's just going to kind of hang out. Illusion waiting for movement from one of the teams from top to bottom lane, but he's not going to find it. 5 minutes and 30 seconds in. Invictus Gaming did grab first blood once again. Up to Voy. A lot of aggression from PDD trying to stay in auto attack range. But the turret just too close.
This is really, though, it's a good advantage here for PDD overall, though. This is going to be a good matchup for a good long while. They picked that partially as a counterpick to that early Diana grab. This is going to be difficult for Voy.
Hotshot top, though. Getting taken out on PDD, forced to flash as Doublelift taking some damage down bottom. Very nice job. His kid just continuously hitting those auto attacks every time that he can to get the upper hand. A huge burst from Chauster. Wow.
Yeah, that turret shot plus all the spells coming out. Yep. Chauster with the Glitter Lance, a basic attack, is going to do some good damage. Zitai actually just spammed his ability trying to shove away Cassiopeia. Actually burned his ultimate as part of that trade. Just wanted to put some pressure onto Big Fat. Flash as well on both sides here. So again, no cooldowns are available. And Skarner, as soon as Illusion hits level 6, someone's going to die.
It's exactly what they want, and that's what they are looking for. Chauster once again to the bush to kind of hold some control in bottom lane. Going behind, they found Countdown his own, or going through the jungle invading, and he will be taken out. Clean it up, 1-1.
Wow, nice reactions there by CLG, finding what they needed to do. You can see Zatai will just keep shoving that mid lane. Not worried about, not really worried about that whatsoever. They could actually choose him to stay after seeing that lane shove happen. He's gonna have to go back for items pretty soon. He's low on mana, and he's got some gold to spend, so you're gonna see him run back pretty soon.
More invasion coming in. Illusion feeling good, goes behind. They are going right onto the turret. A huge burst of damage coming out, and it looks like Illusion taking that first turret angle. Oh, they let him get away!
Oh my gosh, are you serious? You can't make that kind of mistake in a game like this. They had the pressure. Bigbat had to go back. He was low on health and no mana, no flash, no ultimate. They let him walk away.
Simple miscommunication there. You know, the thought was right. Farms the tie-in mid, give him the kill. But if you can get it, it's going to be an assist. Still go for it. 7 minutes and 40 seconds in, we see Invictus with a little bit of miscommunication there that they cannot afford to have any longer.
Yeah, well, hopefully they do bridge those gaps. The one advantage they have, though, is even though the kills have been traded back and forth, they're up 600 gold. A lot of that is coming from advantageous lanes. You're just seeing their gold just creeping up over time. They're just farming better than the opposition. That's a very, very big deal for them. You know, the early game was kind of what Invictus was going to be about. We saw that with Frost, where it finally petered off at the end. And we know that's how CLG likes to play, where they're going to get some late game strategy. Oh, Illusion's going to steal the blue away! They had the ward there already. They had that buff time. Nice play there. Illusion is walking by saying thank you very much. That's a very big deal. Big Fat LP on a I can't think of Cassiopeia, sorry, really is going to be reliant on mana. Because Thornspring and Chalice will be okay in that lane, but still would have liked to see blue buff.
Yeah, going against Zatai with 0 mana, like you said before, Vladimir using his health to cast spells. That's a very aggressive lane, and he needs that buff. You can see Doublelift and Chauster taking up as much experience as they can around the map, just trying to feed themselves in that lane. Bottom lane, not too bad. He is down about 15 CS on Kid, but that lane still 0-1. Kid has that kill, and it's going to be very big as they pressure on continuously. They did not lane swap this game. They left Yorick to go against Diana top. They like the pick on that as Yorick can sustain against that burst of Diana. So the lanes for Invictus are working well, but they're not capitalizing on their chances yet.
I really like the overall gameplay strategies, though, from Invictus. They're choosing their lanes based on the map objectives. So normally, you know, you see teams default to a solo lane top and a double lane bottom because you want to kind of have some pressure around the dragon. It's really not what the choices here are for Invictus. They're actually choosing their solo lane based on the golem buff. You can see them, you know, the very first game they gave Jarvan blue buff and sent him bottom lane. This time they're repeatedly getting PDD on Yorick golem buff and saying, nope, you're going to stay top. Even though Yorick is normally a great 1-on-2 champion, they don't care so much about that matchup. They're carried about giving that solo lane golem buff all the time, and it's giving them a really good lane advantage here. You know, even though you see the minion kills are similar between Voyboy and PDD, remember that kills on fools are tracked as well, so that's an artificially high number there.
So Invictus Gaming with more than a big enough wave to take down this turret. Especially getting the heals out from Alistar as well. Looks like they will back off top lane. Voyboy going quite aggressive as they hit each other out here. Vladimir actually going down bottom for the gank, but he starts to back off as he knows he can't get under the turret. Both fights here walk away without any damage.
So a nice gank attempt overall there. And that's actually a nice move by CLG. They actually sent Hotshot to mid, and he's completely shoved out that mid lane, denying a bit of farm from Zatai. That's actually really, really useful. It's going to bridge the gold gap just a little bit. Anytime they can kind of clear a lane and deny farm to the opposition, you're always going to start throwing ahead.
It's always good to remember separate harassment, knowing that's going to hurt Zatai as he goes bottom, even if he got the kill. Very well played by CLG right now in the mechanics of the game. PDD again getting blue buff as it came back around. Not much needed from Vladimir, and with the control of CLG's blue buff, they don't have to worry about that lane getting lost.
But the one really good thing here, though, is they're going to keep that pressure onto the turret. The first turret kill going down right here for Invictus. They're going to keep that pressure going. You're going to see, again, just farming against each other in the mid lane. There's not going to be a lot done there. There's great wave clearers, great minion farmers for both those sides. You're not going to see, outside of a giant gank attempt, heavy pressure on either of those turrets. But the sides, they're absolutely available. We could see Skarner come in for someone in the near future. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to gank for Voyboy all that well. Ultimately, the lane matchup does not really reward ganking Voyboy's aggression. Yorick is not the best at bursting someone down. He's just best at being a bully, leaving him alone and letting him make his play. So you'll just see him grow over time, and they're going to let that be sort of a late game lane because they're going to like what Yorick does here. Instead, their pressure is going to be on Big Fat LP. got to worry because his flash and ult are back up, but they can still make the moves there, and the pressure has been on that bottom lane as well.
So Hotshot going for 2 Doran Shield in the jungle. What's the purpose of this? To just get himself tanky for early aggression?
He's basically worried about a lot of attack damage early on, and allows him to sustain himself just in general in that jungle. He's got health regen, those Doran Shields, a lot of health and armor as well. I think it's actually not even so much a counter strategy, but Hotshot realizing that Doran's shields are hyper efficient items, and realizing, guys, just buy Doran Shield. They're really, really good.
Right, Tear of the Goddess going out on top to Yorick as he builds up his mana for himself, continuously sustaining in lane. The blue buff and everything just synergizing very nicely with that lane. However, the kills have been quite scarce this game. 13 minutes in, we saw about 3 or 4 kills between the last matchup of Azubu versus Invictus. Now CounterLogic Gaming has avoided that very, very early aggression. They did lose the first blood, but they've kind of thwarted it since then.
Yeah, I really only expect to see moves at the bottom of the map right now. We've got oracles now on both junglers, so you're going to see these lanes get a lot less safe very, very soon. You guys have invested 400 gold in an item, lets them see invisible units such as wards, clear them off the map, and really sort of deny that vision so that Ginks can come in blind and get behind people. So you're going to see a lot more aggression coming very, very soon from Illusion and from Hotshot UG.
Great CS in mid so far by Zatai. He's looking at 118 minions that he has farmed up. That's going to be gold and experience for himself while even being denied. We saw Hotshot trying to get to lane and harass him a little bit as he went down bottom. It was a good job, though, that the lanes followed each other. Each team is really keeping themselves in the game mentally here, especially first game today for CLG.
Oh my gosh, that was a near steal. That was a nice attempt there by Kid. But because of Hotshot's Oracle, they had that swept out. There were no wards in that brush. No one was able to time that buff and clear it away. Otherwise could have been another golden steal. That's actually the first blue buff that CLG's even gotten in this game. So finally starting to get their own buffs on the map. You're going to see this mid-game start to get a little bit better for CounterLogic NA.
You know, Freak, something we noticed last game is they didn't have oracles until about 25, 26, 27 minutes into the game. Invictus was knowing which lanes the champions were in because they were pressuring so hard. Now with Hotshot going in and clearing out wards, they actually have picked one up as well because they know that map awareness is so crucial.
So they're going to start off on Baron as they know they swept the wards out. They had Kid from the bottom lane. The difficulty, though, is Voivoy has teleport. If the fight starts, it would be a 5-on-5. However, they just did such an amazing job of sweeping out the map and denying vision. They got a completely free dragon attempt, 3,000 gold up. Voivoy making a good counterattack move. He's going for the turret here. The problem is he's been denied a lot in lane. He's not going to kill this turret too easily. There's not a really all that important of a counterattack. Some minions were lost there to the turret. There's a little bit of farm that PDD's not getting here, but really that dragon move was the right call. Invictus continue to claw themselves ahead in this game.
So it is going to be 19,100 gold to 15,600. A lead that used to be in favor of CLG for just a few hundred gold is now quite in the favor of Invictus Gaming. Cassiopeia getting that blue as we saw them. Said that Oracle's paying dividends so far, and really if she were to continuously be denied that blue buff, it would be a very easy lane for Zatai in mid, and Big Fat would be forced to just farm under the turret without any aggression. Hotshot coming in here, the Oracles to face off against each other, but Voivoy comes in as well. You'll see movement from Zatai here. Big Fat's kind of trying to hold him off as well. They get the flash out of Illusion. This is already an amazing play if they can get out without wasting the summoner. But it's going to be a big fight as PDD comes down. They find themselves in the 3v3. No, Voivoy flashes as Twin Fang comes out to spit out a few bits of damage. Xiao Xiao very close. They take out Voivoy. Big Fat forced the flash as well. This is quickly going in favor of Invictus Gaming.
See if they can close anything out. Looks like everyone else trying to run away. Hotshot, though, a bit isolated in the jungle. Can he make it out? Walks into Zatai and Xiao Xiao. There's the stun. That's going to be, blast Hotshot! What a move right there!
Amazing job. Chauster now very hurt, but that's not the focus. Kid trying to put some damage onto Doublelift so he can't turn around back in this fight. A beautiful push here in mid. Invictus on the aggression that we saw very early against the Zubu Frost now as they just continuously go for turrets. It looks like they will full on go for this one. Xiao Xiao taking some area of effect damage from Big Fat. And it looks like he will be able to clear and save the turret in 16 minutes.
And that is one of the reasons you pick Cassiopeia. She is great at clearing out minion waves, really up there with Twisted Fate and Anivia as really good counter pushers. So CLG keeping that turret alive is actually hugely important for them. They cannot give up more mid-game advantages. They need to withstand that IG aggression. The fights have been going in their favor, but only down one kill. The turret's been going away, but only down one. The dragon's been going away, but only down one. CLG are just barely holding on, but they need to get something back in their favor pretty soon.
Freak definitive minion kills in lanes, 129 to Yorick, 103 to Diana. Boy losing that top lane quite a bit. Middle lane goes down, however, and they get everybody some very much needed gold. We see Zatai against Big Fat, 142 to 107, and the AD carries Kid versus Doublelift is 132 to 99. That average is about 25 to 30 more CS on 3 of the heaviest carries.
That's actually a huge deal overall, because individual power just means so very much. Getting gold on a carry means more than getting gold on a support overall. Hotshot chasing down PDD. He's going to get something out of this, but I don't know if it's too much. His team does chase on down, but Hotshot not able to put enough slowing down. He couldn't slow him long enough for his team to show up. But CLG kind of taking a page out of Invictus' book. Suddenly they're 5 strong on one side of the map out of nowhere, and they're going to go for some pressure. But took a little bit too long. That last minion wave kind of stopping that aggression. The rest of Invictus did show up to that top lane, stop that push from really happening. But CLG would really love to get some extra turret pressure here.
Yeah, it's going to have to work out that way for CounterLogic Gaming. If those instances where they travel as 5 do not work out, they're still getting less and less experience. And with the minion count being so low for their team, the late game is going to be quite difficult around the mid game. Until those fights start going 1 or 2 in their favor, they're not going to get their core items as fast. You can see Doublelift trying to get that Bloodthirster most likely out as quick as he can. Corki has already finished a Triforce.
Yeah, that just came in there, and you buy that item for 2 reasons. One is mid-game power, and 2 is to keep bullying the opposition. You know, when you come into that game and you realize, like, hey, I'm doing really well. I'm chunking my opponent. We got first blood. I'm doing a lot of good things. You want to get that Trinity Force to cement your advantage. He's got a gigantic item swing over Doublelift right now. He just grabbed the BF sword. If they get into a battle, while the basic auto attack damage is a bit better for Doublelift, there's just a lot of damage sources here for Kid. He's got some extra ability power for his spells to come out, and he's got a lot of damage due to that Trinity Force proc, whether he slows his opponent down and keeps chasing, or just gets a lot of bonus damage every time he bursts an ability out.
Freak. Oh wow, CLG taking a lot of damage, and I don't think his ultimate's going to be enough. He does turn back around to go down.
Nice move there. CLG really, they're collecting themselves together, and Big Fat LP is being a force to be reckoned with. He's landing those crowd controls and setting up his team for a lot of good situations. It's the kind of thing that CLG needs. They need constant aggression. They need things to go their way mid-game.
Now, Freak, 2 or 3 of the wards just went down, but we can see the control, the aggressive wards in the side of CounterLogic Gaming, all the way up through that red buff and then down towards Dragon. As well, 3 wards on Zatai, the AP carry, and 1 on his support. Huge pull-in, impale onto Doublelift, and he goes down. Zatai with 1 more.
That was exactly what they wanted to have happen, and that is why you bring Skarner into a lineup, is he makes your attack damage carry just suddenly die. And this is going to be hard because Doublelift is still trying to finish his Infinity Edge. He's going to have to spend another 1,200 gold to finish that item, and then spend the other 1,600 in order to get a Quicksilver Sash. He's 3,000 gold away from being able to survive Skarner.
Boy keeping that global presence down. Oh, they're coming on the turret. It's going to be a huge invade here by Invictus Gaming, but it looks like they push everybody out of the attack range. Kid could go down and get the ultimate thrown on him, and they do grab a turret out of it. So that's going to be good gold, good pressure. They've got him on their heels, but Boy, meanwhile,
meanwhile, up in the top lane is just going for that turret pressure over. Actually, a PDD might get jumped out here. Hotshot's going to keep trying to clear him out. He lands the cleaver down as well, taking some damage from the backside. Those minions in there as well. He's trying to buy time for his teammate, and Boy coming in from the side. Dash out, good fall. PDD, good fall. There's 1, there's 2. And the Dragon was killed, but those 2 kills are worth it. Nice job, CLG.
Very nice job. Coming down from the top, I like how Hotshot stood in the middle, kind of pulling their attention as Boy could come in strong there. They see that that was thwarted out, but like you said, grabbing those 2 kills, Invictus kind of won that fight.
You know, it's very, very back and forth there. You know, Invictus getting that Dragon does keep the gold lead the same, but if CLG could turn those kills into an advantage somewhere else by taking a turret, that's going to be ultimately worth it for CLG. If no capitalization happens here, then it's pretty much a wash. You can kind of continue, you know, as you were and realize, hey, it's still Dragons in 1 lead, hey, it's turrets in lead there. You know, but looks like with 3 members bottom, they are going to turn those kills into a push.
So Boy bringing himself back into this game. Now only 10 CS, which was 30 off of that Yorick top. Zatai getting harassed in middle here, trying to continuously slow for Big Fat to get there for more damage. Looks like they're just forced to farm at that second turret. A lot of ground has been gained by Invictus Gaming, but that turret being taken down, the second tier in top lane, could pay huge dividends in late game's push. Hotshot is very good at just splitting off with his team, and they also have a team freak that can fight as 4 effectively.
Ultimately, though, I like the overall team from Invictus. Their team fight potential is just so very, very good. If you look at CLG's roster, it's a lot of backline damage effort with Cassiopeia, played by Big Fat LP, and Doublelift on Graves. There's a lot of damage there that's going to be, thrown out and putting out a lot of pressure. They've got a nice front line with Hotshot GG on Mundo, and some good utility from Chauster's Lulu. The wild card here, though, is Voyboy playing that Diana. She's going to want to jump in primarily as an assassin. You can see Sword Shoes and Abyssal Scepter already done. You're going to expect a Deathfire Grasp likely to be up next, or very, very soon overall. She's going to try to kill off Kid's Corki. That's kind of the primary target here, the primary kill attempt for CLG. Kind of like what Invictus was doing last time, where they were diving an AD carry. They have the same kind of choice here. The problem is they've got Yorick. Yorick shuts down that kind of strategy. He's just going to clone Kid, and if Kid falls, that Revenant's going to revive him, and he's kind of just going to be back in the battle.
Xiao being taken down, about 1/3 of his HP, forced back here. Now, if they saw that happen, this could easily be a dance for that Baron. The damage is out. Looks like Doublelift still trying to finish that Infinity Edge. He is about 500 gold off of that with a little bit more to add on. So he's got some work to do here. He is not getting minions in lane anymore. He's not farming. These kills are going to come a lot slower. So the fact that he has not finished his core item between that 15 to 18 minutes is going to really affect the team.
So let's see how this actually ends up panning out here, because you've got a really scary situation where CLG's got to buy a little bit of time for them. They need Doublelift to finish that Infinity Edge. And the thing is, it might not even matter if he gets caught by Skarner. So CLG needs 2 major things here. Doublelift needs a couple hundred more gold. Currently at 800. He actually needs to get back to base and buy an item, ultimately. But he doesn't have time. That Baron, of course, getting danced for. But after that, he needs to be safe in a fight. There's so much dive potential from IG. Now, they're not going to focus him with bruises so much. Vladimir's not going to dive onto him. They don't have like an Aurelia or a Nocturne or a Jarvan like we saw last game, where they're going to go and fight Doublelift. It's really, they're going to pull Doublelift out. It's all about Xiao and Illusion. Can they make that happen? Can they pull him in and focus him out? If they are not able to, Doublelift with an Infinity Edge is going to out DPS Kid on Corki. The overall damage per second is going to be higher for an Infinity Edge with Quick Draw, with Lulu in the back giving you a shield, having that pick steal some extra damage with you as well. There's a lot of damage output there.
Oh, we have Corellia's on impale into Hotshot. Can he get his ultimate up? The Ignite is on, and it's just too much front end burst. They take him down in pursuit. No freak, it looks like they turn for Baron.
This is a great attempt. The jungler is dead. There is so little chance for a steal here. If the steal does come out from CLG, it'll be the most magnificent play ever. It's already 4-on-5. Their jungler is already out of the mix. It's already down to half health. This is looking like a very, very safe Baron attempt for Invictus with a very slim chance to steal.
Hotshot did it with the Ionic Spark last time. Zitai on a killing spree as Chauster goes down. They're trying to get into this one too quickly, and it looks like they may be able to take out a few in their favor. Skarner smiting down Baron. Big Fat takes down Alistar, and now they will pursue into this fight. We do see just above them, here comes Zitai on top. PDD getting the Ignite down. A nice petrifying gaze, trying to slow this in. And I like how Voyboy tried to stand behind Big Fat, but it just was too much burst from Phosphorus. Voyboy looking to go down here. There's a lot of chase, but it looks like he will make it out alive. Corki is on that top side, going towards Tribush. He will have the movement as Valkyrie comes in, and it looks like he will be able to get the chase on. He's just within range. Valkyrie is 2 seconds from up. He's going to be on Voyboy right now. The attack goes in. Voyboy trying to burst, and he comes up with the pursuit kill for Kid.
Nice job overall. Invictus now up in kills, Dragon's turrets, and Baron. They are in the driver's seat here. Now it's a 7,000 gold lead. That initial pull on the Hotshot, and that's what happens. That Invictus Gaming team is roaming as 5, starting from like 20-minute mark, and they just look for that one guy to pounce upon. The initiation here, the flash, the Shirelias, everything coming on from Skarner, just trying to find a champion to kill. They do it, even when it's Hotshot, even when it's a tanky Dr. Mundo, they just have the damage to make a 5-on-4. And from there, they just control every other advantage. I like what they did with the Baron attempt, where they sent 2 out of the pit just to zone out the CLG opposition, trading some kills out, but securing that Baron kill. And now it's still that Baron buff. They're going to keep pushing on.
They have a great team for pushing these turrets. Wild growth going out on Hotshot, but again, the Ignite goes down and he is just obliterated. The ultimate not even saving.
This is really one of the weaknesses of Dr. Mundo, is his mid-game crush is when he's least tanky. Now, a lot of times you see them go for early gold generation, Nautilus and Maokai, they'll grab a Philosopher's Stone, and a Heart of Gold, and they'll just sort of try to get a Glacial Shroud finish in time to be tanky. Dr. Mundo on Hotshot, he's still trying to finish major items. He's got the Soul Shroud Spirit Visage up there. He's got Mercury Trades. He's got a Heart of Gold. He's got Doran's Shields. He's got a lot of like moderately good items, but he's not to the point where he can face tank a team right now. He needs a Warmog's armor or a Sunfire Cape or a Randuin's Omen to withstand what IG is throwing out there. So the next 5 to 10 minutes as Hotshot tries to get some gold on, he's going to keep dying this way, and they're okay to focus the tank. Invictus have 10,000 gold. They can just keep picking off one kill and picking up a turret. Picking up a kill and picking up a turret. They're up 6-3. They're going to keep that going.
Freak, I like the last donation. We saw Corki. It was Kid and PDD going in for red buff, and they gave it to PDD. What's the point of giving your melee that red?
Well, there's a difference between giving a melee champion and a ranged champion that Lizard's on. But when you're a melee champion, your slow is actually much heavier, and you're going to kind of just see him in general, be in the front line and land a lot of basic attacks. On the other side, though, of course, Corki with that Trinity Force has a slow anyway. They don't need to stack them.
Good slow back, keeping Illusion off at last. Impale as Chauster is the one in the backside to tie. However, they're looking quite aggressive as he builds up his Tides of Blood. He gets more spell vamp in his attack. A hit out on Chauster, and they are the one to find him. Still, I believe, not having the headbutt. No, they go for Chauster. Wild Goat pops him up. A good slow for the entire team. The Glitterlance could not be enough here. The Valkyrie in. Kid picks up another kill. 5-0-2 on the match now, and they are going for the inhibitor turret. Not enough minions, though. They're going to be forced to back off, but they have a full control, and they're just more than happy to ring or go around the horn here of CLG's base.
Yeah, they've got a giant minion wave in the top lane. Whenever you want to push, try to ride the minion wave in. And there's the initiation. They're going to catch up to the Boy
Boy goes down in a second. Hotshot GG once again. The Chemo Plague doesn't even get time to proc. They wipe out Counterlogic Gaming in their base. One more attack onto Big Fat will be the ace, and they're just chasing him down. He can't get a kill. The double kill coming in for Big Fat, and now they're forced to just mill about. They can't hit the inhibitors yet. They need some waves to get in here. You can just see PDD. He's like, I think I can back here. Give me 8 seconds.
Well, they're going to try to regroup here. Invictus, oh, looks like the GG call is out. They don't even care. They're just going to die to turrets for free. Why not? GG called out. The surrender vote is in, guys. Congratulations to Invictus Gaming. Bringing it back 1-1. They're taking the win over Counterlogic Gaming.
An amazing game played there. And sometimes in the group stage, you really need to just sit back and say, this isn't our game. It's not like we can go into a best of 3 here. So let's rethink this and come into our next matchup.
So here's where you're at. Right? You've got Invictus Gaming sitting at 1-1. They've got one deciding match still to go against SK. It's very tense for them. They've got a good win here against CLG, one of the best teams in the world. They just took a commanding victory here, and they've kept their reputation up. The teams that they've beat in show matches, they beat CLG 2-0 for the IPL 5 qualifier. They beat them here again in the best of 1. They're still feeling pretty good. They're winning the games that they know they need to win. So they're feeling pretty good. They're going to go into SK, but I think they're going to feel confident doing that. Counterlogic, they knew that they had rough chances here against this matchup. They know they've got tough competition still ahead of them overall, but they know they're a world-class team. CLG, they know they have what it takes to pull this one still through. They can beat Frost. They can beat SK. Heck, they can go for a 3-way tie if they really want to, but the cards are still here for both these teams to make it through.
And let's see what this does to the standing freaks. We do see the 1-1 for Invictus, that 0-1 for CLG now, and a Zubu Frost 1-0.
And this is really, really good. It's just close overall. It's still a neck-and-neck group. You've got to watch the rest of these games come out because there are just no guaranteed victors no matter what. None of these scores necessarily are any kind of a final standing yet. You're getting partway through the group. You're seeing some of these things shape up, but you haven't seen SK play yet. They could crush everyone under their boot. You never know. There's a lot of different options available here. You've just got to watch the rest of these games come out.
We could see it happen very big, and the curse of first blood actually broken on that game. They did go through with it the first game, but they were able to find the way this time, and it was really all due to that composition. It was just so amazingly picked.
Exactly. So we're going to see what that composition was all about. We've got to replay one of those last few fights. See, as next, an inhibitor all open, Mundo up in the front, and they just picked out Voyboy completely. The damage output was just too high. That Skarner over and over, isolating champions. Vladimir diving in out of the turret, and they tried to pick up Big Fat LP. They honestly weren't quite able to, but it just didn't matter at that point. Their initial opening has been too strong over and over. The Skarner pulls got them kill after kill. great job to Invictus.
Yeah, they came out very strong. It was not the early aggression that CLG was able to stop. They came out quite strong just after that. The 1-to-1 kill, as they were like, hey, that was pretty tricky bottom lane. Let's go ahead and do something of our own. They came out with the kill, but it just wasn't enough. I think Hotshot going for the Dorans put him 2 all in and a little bit of money for items that would have kept him a little tankier in the later to mid game. But then that's when you said they caught him in that mid game where he doesn't flourish the most, where he is kind of in that situation of limbo where he's coming off for being very good at dispersing a fight and really peeling somebody off, but he can't continuously do it as a tank.
So, that's them kind of falling off. Very unfortunate there for CLG. Starting out 0-1, but you just saw Invictus start out 0-1, and they still turned it on their head and won a bunch of games. They just won a game very convincingly here and are poised to stage their comeback in this group stage. CLG can mirror that performance. They can lose their first game, but come back and make it out strong. It is still anybody's group here. There are just crazy matches still, in line for us today.
And we've really seen what Invictus Gaming has to bring. They do love the 3v1 situation. Getting their jungler down to that bottom lane when the support has to back, when somebody's out of position and warding, they really take advantage of something like that. We saw Zubu Frost able to counter that with their Shen pick, but Shen wasn't on Counterlogic Gaming. They couldn't get to that point very fast. They couldn't stop those fights. So Invictus Gaming is all about the aggression on those 3v1s.
So let's talk about the rest of this group here. We've got another 4 matches in Group A and another 6 matches in Group B. So with Frost 1-0, how are you liking their chances against CLG and their chances against SK?
Frost was very good and strong, particularly. They came into the match. They did get first blooded, but that was off what you would call a cheeky strat. Just the Fog of War was used perfectly, and then they really regrouped and they figured out what to do. SK is going to be very aggressive as well, so they're kind of ready for that from Invictus. I think they're going to take a little more consideration in the early game of their jungle as well, and then against CLG, I think they can play not quite a normal game, but they have to feel CLG out first because I don't think we saw anything that CLG has been working on up into this tournament in that game.
Yeah, this looked like a very, very standard Counterlogic Gaming sort of lineup, and I got to believe that their picks and bans were sort of revolving around, what is Invictus good as and what are they good against? But I think Invictus picked a lot of counter lanes overall. Giving them Alistar right there at the very beginning, he set up the flash force on a Doublelift, and then Alistar set up that kill. That felt like a little bit of a Champions Select mishap here from CLG, where they just gave away a lot of power, and it enabled a lot of kills there right off the bat for Invictus. Now, the top lane counter pick was great as well. Yorick having a great time against Diana. The mid lane was fine. It was back and forth. A couple minions in the favor of Vladimir, but overall still a pretty close match. So CLG is going to have to come up with something a little bit different. They didn't show up with any kind of special strategies. They kind of did not withstand any of that early aggression. The early lane plays, the early ganks, they all came through very, very well. And Hotshot, though he picked a farming jungler, Dr. Mudu is going to come in and not gank nearly as hard as Skarner, not set up his lanes nearly as hard as something like that. If he came up with Nautilus or Maokai or even a Shyvana who can kind of get into those fights a bit better, that might have worked out a bit. I think they played a little bit too late game there. Muda was not able to quite catch up and become that tanky tank in the front line. Their lanes, just due to the pressure from Alistar, the pressure from Yorick, the pressure from Skarner, they were not able to keep themselves really safe in that mid game. So CLG, they've still got 2 aggressive teams coming up. We saw Frost pretty much match IG's aggression. As ganks came in from Invictus, they picked up the first blood, but you saw that kill score 7-6 really in that mid game because Frost would keep showing up for ganks themselves. They would have Shen teleport onto a ganker so that they would come in together and make 3-on-1s. That's the kind of play that Frost is going for. CLG's got to realize every team in this group is about those really aggressive early mid-game plays. If you look back at the European regional SK Gaming against CLG Europe, they did the same thing. They invaded that jungle. They took, I think, 7 of the first 8 buffs on the map. They just denied every resource. That kind of looked very similar to Invictus for CLG, where the first 2 golem buffs, not only were they getting their own golem buffs, but the first 2 of Counterlogic's golem buffs went to Invictus. From the jungle invades at minute 1 and at minute 8, they kept denying those resources. So, CLG needs to realize, guys, everyone here is aggressive. I don't think they can really pick Mundo again because he doesn't put any pressure on those lanes. He doesn't make those ganks happen. The early Diana was there for a nice mid to late game sort of carry assassination, but when you're up against Yorick, not only do you not have a good laning phase anymore, but you also can't kill that carry anymore. He's going to get revived by that Yorick Omen of Death, and then, what did you just do as Diana except pick up some gold and then die in the team fight? So I think CLG needs to kind of go back and realize, guys, we've got cool strategies, right? We've got this. We know what this is, right? We're lactose intolerant. It's not about cheese. It's about strategy. It's about preparing for the game and seeing what your opponents are up to. And it seemed like IG prepared a bit better. They won a champion select, honestly.
You know, they really did. They did their homework, and I love the nets they set up for themselves. Just kind of supporting. You know, they took the Vlad in mid. It's a viable AP mid. And they also banned out Sivir, which is usually run in the 3 teleport promote strat. And Vlad's very good against a 2v1 situation. So they were preparing themselves for really multiple things to happen in this game.
They were. It was nice overall. IG just picked up a lot of great picks in Champion Select. And again, that early Diana grab, it set up risks. I don't know if CLG hasn't played against York in a while and didn't know that was a good counter lane, or if it was just amazing play by PDD. He did show up to lane with a golem buff. That's going to really sway. Well, of course, yeah, but it's going to sway, you know, how that lane plays out. Normally you say, okay, it's a one-on-one. You know, he's got some ghouls. You know, I'll deal with it. You know, Omen of Pestilence costs a bit more now, so maybe he'll run out of mana. Suddenly he shows up with a golem buff there, and he's got no cooldowns and no mana concerns to worry about. Okay, you're going to have a bit of a different matchup here. And you know, CLG losing their initial golem buff as well to the great jungle invade, I can see how that would have panned out a bit more difficult, because they were actually planning on giving Void golem themselves. It was actually the opposite of what they were anticipating, where Void ran Summoner Teleport. They sent 3 members down. Lulu and Graves were there to support him on that golem buff grab, while Cassiopeia helped hotshot GG jungle on Mundo. But the invade came in. IG read the strategy. They know CLG, when they picked Diana, it's a Void by 1v2. We called it in Champion Select. IG called it in Champion Select. They called it in the beginning strategy, where they said, oh, they're going to go for blue and give it to Void, so let's pink ward the invasion ward, and let's go walk in. Oh, look, Void's there. Our blue, thanks very much. And you just saw Skarner have a great time of it the entire way through. So, you know, IG, they prepared so beautifully. You know, they called the strategy, they called the early game moves, and they reacted to every single one of them. And, hey, they reacted to CLG strategies.
Yeah, no, they really did. The huge key to the match. And the thing for them was, and that I like about Invictus Gaming, and kind of just, you know, growing, is that it's not just the early game. It's not just the snowball there. They control that beautifully. They did say, hey, you know, we got those early buffs, but let's focus that lane a little bit. Let's make sure Void Boy has a really hard time, even though PDD has blue buff, and we'll keep going at him.
And it's absolutely going to work really, really well overall. You know, Invictus, they played their mid game beautifully as well. You just said, you know, it's not just the early game, it's not just Champion Select, it's everything, and they completely played it to the advantage. I mean, this was a pretty low kill game, 12 to 7, and you know, a lot of those were just right at the very end there, where they, you know, picked up a lot of kills on tower dives, and they got, you know, kind of traded back. This game was neck and neck in most cases, except for the laning phase. So Invictus kind of said, look, guys, we won the laning phase. We're up in gold on minions. Let's find out how to close this out. You know, and that is difficult sometimes when you're winning early on. We saw it against Frost, really, where they had a lot of leads and they couldn't close it out. They tried to force Baron, but Frost played it beautifully. They forced Illusion out of the camp and then got the Baron steal themselves. That's the kind of thing. Those are the kind of moves you need to make as a team. You know, guys, we won early game. Let's close it out. They didn't quite get it against Frost. They did get it against CLG. It's a Shirelia's Flash Skarner. That's going to be a pull almost no matter what. They just will keep chasing, keep hasting, keep going, and they'll pick up those kills. They'll make them happen, and that is exactly what Invictus did. They made that mid-game happen.
All right, Freak, that's that game. We've had 2 amazing matches. 2 of Asia's best teams in the world, and then North America versus Asia as well here on home turf, and we saw that Asia still very strong in their gameplay. Coming up next, we see SK Gaming make its first appearance in the tournament against Azubu Frost. We'll be right back in just a few minutes with Jat and D-Man here at the League of Legends Season 2 Championships at LA Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on day one of the World